Hello everybody, I'm Joy and welcome back to Sustainable Jungle, where we share sustainability tips, tricks, hacks, products, brands and stories to better our planet. And today we're tackling arguably the dirtiest and most intimidating sustainable living topic, cloth diapers. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of how to do cloth diapers like a parenting pro, I want to make the case for making the switch because it is a pretty hefty undertaking that takes a lot of dedication to keep the habit. So having a bit of spare motivation will go a long way to making this a sustainable process in more ways than one. First up, let's start with the financial benefits. And let's just do a few rough calculations here, as I realize these numbers can fluctuate substantially based on where you are, how old your child is, and the extent to which inflation has hit your diaper supply. Let's just say that disposable diapers can typically cost between 20 to 30 cents each, and you'll need roughly 3,000 of these babies per year, although newborns use a lot more and toddlers use a lot less. But for argument's sake, 3,000 diapers would likely cost you somewhere around $900 annually. And over 2.5 years, this adds up to well over $2,000, which means that you're basically tossing a small fortune into the trash every single year. Think of all the lattes, date nights, sustainable clothing, or even mini vacations you could have with that cash. Now, let's flip the script. Cloth diapers do require a larger upfront investment. Depending on the type and quantity, you might spend a few $100s initially. I would totally suggest bringing down that upfront cost by buying secondhand. You can pick up heaps of secondhand diapers in great condition on Facebook Marketplace or even some thrift stores, given most of these diapers are usually only used for a couple of years, give or take. Though if you do buy secondhand, make sure the nappies or the diapers have been properly sanitized in accordance with cloth diaper washing guidelines. I'll cover a little bit more on some of these resources on washing later on, and bleaching. If you do buy new, check with your local municipality first on whether they offer any financial incentives to go reusable. Ours actually offered rebates on reusable cloth diapers, given it reduces their landfill costs, which is such a win. If you're looking into doing these reusable diapers predominantly for the cost benefits, there are other things to factor in. So be sure to factor in the cost of washing. So that's water, electricity, detergent, stain remover, bleach, drying, and time. These costs can vary substantially, so I won't attempt to go through them here, but they are worth popping into your calculations. Personally, I wash during the day when the solar panels are kicking, and I line dry so as to eliminate drying costs. Water in our area is not super duper expensive, so for us the economics of reusables make clear sense. But here's where the savings really do kick in. Cloth diapers can be reused and reused and reused for subsequent children. So if you're planning on expanding your brood, each additional kiddo's diapering costs could drop substantially. So to summarize, in the great financial face-off, cloth diapers are for us, and hopefully for you too, just a no-brainer to cut down on parenting costs in these early years. You invest once and reap the rewards for years while saving the planet. That's a win-win that makes your wallet and the earth do a little happy dance. Next up, let's talk about the environmental impact. So disposable diapers often, they do contribute significantly to landfill waste. More than 4.1 million tons of the stuff is generated each year in the US alone, accounting for around 7% of non-durable household waste. Just think about that for a sec. The production of disposable diapers is resource intensive, requiring significant amounts of wood pulp, plastic, and chemicals. For instance, it's estimated that the production of disposable diapers for one baby consumes 300 pounds of wood, 50 pounds of petroleum feedstocks, and 20 pounds of chlorine. Speaking of chlorine, disposable diapers often contain trace amounts of chemicals such as chlorine and dioxins, which can pose health risks to babies and contribute to further environmental pollution. While cloth diapers require water and energy for laundering, as I mentioned before, using energy-efficient washing machines and line drying can significantly reduce their environmental impact. Plus, they're of course reusable. Studies show that washing cloth diapers in full loads with cloth water and air drying can cut carbon emissions by 40%. However, personally, I have stuck to a hot wash because, well, poop. So I haven't done the carbon calc on that, but I feel like a hot wash is pretty important and non-negotiable in the case of diapers. I'll cover a bit more on washing techniques later on. Finally, diapers can also take hundreds of years to decompose, all the while releasing harmful chemicals and microplastics into the environment. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed or intimidated by the prospect of washing soiled diapers, just keep one or two of these facts in the back pocket to remind yourself of why you're doing this. There are a lot of legitimate reasons to make this a long-term habit. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what about the end-of-life impact and toxicity of the reusable diapers, given they're often made from synthetic materials that last forever? I think this is a legitimate concern, but there are things that you can do to reduce this impact and risk. For example, again, choosing secondhand diapers means that you are prolonging the life of products that already exist and keeping them from landfill. Theoretically, diaper shells in particular can last forever and continue to be resold. And as for toxicity concerns, there are brands that prioritize materials with little to no toxicity. Materials like hemp, like this one, and organic cotton are also able to be composted when they really can take no more poo. Microplastics are definitely an issue. You can wash with a guppy bag, and you can also investigate the potential to buy a washing machine that actually captures the microplastics. Not ideal solutions, by no means perfect, but definitely better than disposables. Now that brings us onto the topic of choosing cloth diapers. So you get a few different types. You get prefolds, pockets, and all-in-ones. Prefolds are generally more eco-friendly, affordable, and customizable, but require additional fiddling because it's basically that old style sort of folding the nappy around the baby and then clipping it. Pockets are easy to adjust for absorbency because you can just keep adding inserts inside. And all-in-ones are super convenient, but can be pricier and less leak-proof in my experience. Factors like ease of use, absorbency, cost of materials, end-of-life outcomes, and fit are important when choosing a diaper. So I'd also encourage you to look at who owns the brand and opt for smaller local brands near you, because there are a ton of great options on Etsy which are lovingly handmade by moms or parents who really know what they're doing. Personally, I did a bunch of research on the brands most parents around me were using because I wanted to buy secondhand, and I did this by signing up to local Facebook groups that discuss reusable diapers, and then I purchased a small number of secondhand diapers from 4 different brands with different styles and fits. And then when I knew which fit my baby best, I bought more of those secondhand. So I ended up with a mix of locally made options and some more sort of mass-produced options. And if I could go back, I would have made more of an effort to prioritize the locally made options, as they are just so much better. Interesting, I found that all 4 brands have been used on our baby at different stages of growth and for different purposes. And another thing to consider is how many you actually need. So given my lack of experience on this topic initially, I bought 3 newborn diapers and a range of others that were sort of adjustable in size. And I think the newborns were probably a waste of money because they were used for such a short time period. And I'd instead go for the adjustable ones from the get-go. I mean, I was able to sell the newborn ones to a mom with a new baby, so it's not the end of the world, but I think in terms of reducing waste, going with adjustable ones from the get-go is the better idea. But I digress. So you need more for newborns than you do for toddlers. So I would aim for roughly 40 diapers to get you going. But if you're not 100% sure that this is for you, just start with a handful and see how you go before investing in the full gamut of options. Beyond the actual reusable diapers themselves, there are a couple of other essentials which will help enormously. One is the reusable diaper liners, which are thin sheets placed inside the cloth diapers to make diaper changes and cleaning easier. Typically made from fleece or other washable fabrics like bamboo or charcoal, they help wick away the moisture from the baby's skin, and they help keep them dry and more comfortable. These liners not only simplify the cleanup process by allowing for easy removal of solids, but also protect the cloth diaper from staining because they sort of cover them like that. Using these diaper liners can be especially helpful for managing diaper rash creams, which can affect the absorbency of the cloth diapers as well. Then there's Wetbags, which are waterproof reusable bags designed to store soiled cloth diapers, wet clothes, or other damp items when on the go. These are made from water-resistant materials. They contain moisture and odors. Wetbags typically come with zippered closures and convenient carrying handles like this, allowing for easy transport and hygiene maintenance until laundry day. I bought 2 of these really large Wetbags and 3 of these smaller ones. So I would suggest not bothering with the smaller ones as they're a bit fiddly to wash, and they also can't hold much. They're pretty much only 1 diaper. So the big ones are great, and I'm finding I'm using them for more than diapers, even as my child gets older. So for example, now that we've started toilet training, they're great for dirty daycare clothes and underwear, and are also great for wet swimwear. Also, there are these little cotton inserts which you can place behind the diaper pad, which will just add that much more absorbency to avoid leaks and allow diapers to be more customizable as your little person gets bigger, because the inserts are not always that straightforward. I managed to find these organic cotton baby face cloths, which did the job perfectly, and they also doubled as wet wipe replacements, so I just used them for both. I was also able to get different colors, so I could separate face wipes from bum wipes when washing. These will be reused as rags eventually, and then I'll compost them because they're organic cotton. You'll also need additional inserts for overnight. So if you have, or of course, if you have a heavy wetter, you know, each child wets to different extents. So heavy wetter means that they just wee a little bit more. These are basically just more padding that gets added to absorb more wee. So we use more of these. We have used more of these as our baby has got bigger or overnight. Each of these items goes a really long way to making the whole diaper thing more manageable. Whew, okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's actually cleaning pooey diapers. So I just want to send a shout out here to an amazing website and Facebook group called Clean Cloth Nappies. They saved me from hours of toil and pain by providing super clear washing guidelines. They also do testing of different laundry liquids in hard and soft water and with different machines to help you find the best fit for your setup. And they also help so much with getting your laundry basket system set up, which is just crucial to get right. So while I will share what I did, the washing of diapers is actually quite technical. So I'd suggest visiting the Cleaning Cloth website, which I will link to below, or finding an equivalent resource online near you. So this is my setup. First, I have a dirty diaper basket in the laundry to collect soiled diapers. Some people call this a dry pail, and it's important that this basket is aerated and is kept in a dry spot because it helps prevent mold growing on your diapers before you wash them. Gross. Before putting the diapers into the basket, scrape the solids into the toilet using a scraper, or give the diaper a little shake. Don't overdo it because you can get some flying debris. Sometimes I use a bit of toilet paper if the scraper is struggling, and I'll talk a little bit more about bidet options later on. Alternatively, you can also place the diaper liner or diaper insert into the toilet, not in the actual toilet water, but just above, and hit flush, which will rinse away hopefully most of the solids. I generally like to close the toilet lid when I'm doing this so as not to, breathe in the toilet water. Important to know that the diaper does not have to be perfectly clean of poo before going into the washing machine, because the washing machine is pretty thorough when you use a hot wash. Then the recommendation is to do a pre-wash every day or every second day, depending on how many diapers there are. You do not want your machine to be too full or too empty, so you will be able to judge after a few days how many you need in there to get just right. I do the pre-wash for 1 hour on 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This pre-wash is basically used to get rid of the poo. I use 1 scoop of washing liquid and half a scoop of stain remover for this wash. Then I'll usually combine 2 pre-washes into a main wash, which is a 2-hour-long wash at 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. For this main wash, I use 2 scoops of laundry liquid and 1 scoop of stain remover. Then every now and then, it's recommended to do a deep sanitize of all the diapers with bleach. I cannot say that bleaching is my strength, so I'd feel uncomfortable giving you advice on exactly how to do this. So please visit the Clean Cloth Nappies website. They are truly amazing at giving advice on washing and bleaching. We're not affiliated with them at all, by the way, but I'm a big fan, as you can tell. And that's pretty much the process. So let's address some of the common concerns about cloth diapering. First up is time commitment. One of the main concerns for parents considering reusable cloth diapers is the time commitment involved. Unlike disposable diapers, cloth diapers need washing, drying, and actually putting them together, like clipping them back together, stuffing them with prefolds, with inserts and so on. This is a big factor, to be honest, and it does require commitment and a lot of time. And when you're a new parent, it does make it a little bit more daunting. So the biggest piece of advice I can give here is that routine and preparation is your friend. Plan out your steps, your washing, drying, and assembly, so it's really clear. The more you have this in place, and the less you actually have to think about it and work it out, then the less of a stress the whole process is. There will of course be some personal adjustments as you find what works for you, but having most of the steps in place before you hit go will give you the best chance of making this a sustainable habit. Next up, we have the mess factor. Are cloth diapers messier than disposals? No is my answer. Despite common misconceptions, the key difference lies in how solid waste is handled. How poo is handled. With disposables, you are supposed to get rid of the poo into the toilet. and then wrap up the mess and toss it in the trash. With cloth diapers, you also need to get rid of the poop into the toilet before washing the diapers. The worst part is the removal of the actual poop into the toilet. So whether you are using reusables or disposables, it's arguably pretty much the same thing. Some people use a diaper sprayer or a bidet, which is attached to your toilet, and it allows you to sort of rinse off the solids quickly and efficiently, minimizing the contact and making the cleanup process that much more hygienic. I wish I had had one of these. It would have been 1,000 times better. 100% would have done it if our toilet was able to actually do that. It just wasn't. So we've never used one, and we've just had to rely on a scraper and a little bit of toilet paper and flushing. But apparently these sprayers are amazing and work really well. So if it helps, I'll add a link to a bidet option that might work well for you. Now, with a bit of practice and the right tools, the messiness factor really just becomes a bit of a non-issue. You sort of just get used to it. It sounds gross, but you just kind of get used to it. While there is an initial learning curve, cloth diapers can be also clean and convenient for the most part. Of course, many people just throw disposable diapers right in the trash with poo in them, which contributes further to environmental degradation. So while that is 1,000 times more convenient, I'm not factoring that in as a viable comparison if you're somebody who wants to prioritize environmental, or better environmental behavior on your diapering, but I understand that it does happen. Another really interesting comparison is, do reusables leak more or less than disposables? Now, we've had leaks using both, and that it pretty much comes down to two factors: the fit of the diaper and how much liquid it's trying to hold. With reusables, you really have to get that fit spot on to avoid a leak. There's a little bit of wiggle room or forgiveness with disposables, but not quite the same for reusables. So definitely follow the diaper's user guide and use appropriate inserts based on your baby's age and wetness level. There are so many troubleshooting resources available online for this, or from cloth diaper communities on Facebook, but getting these legs properly sealed and tucked in, for me, was the biggest thing, absolutely key. Now, if the fit is good, it's about making sure there is enough absorbency. This is done by adding additional inserts or cloth liners. Sometimes the inserts are too much and you need cloth liners instead. And of course, figuring out how often you need to change the baby to avoid the leaks is also really important, and it varies substantially between kids. All in all, it takes just a little bit more fiddling to get a leak-proof reusable, but once you have your system down and you know what works for your baby, I see little difference on this point, and it just becomes second nature. The final concern I would raise when it comes to reusable diapers is mental health. This is not something that typically gets raised when considering reusable diapers, but I want to say that some new parents find the postpartum period extremely challenging, to say the least. And on top of eco-anxiety and climate anxiety and all that, it can be a lot. So the fact is that while reusable diapers are a better choice in our opinion, they are overall harder to get right and stick to. So if you find yourself having a tough time after your baby is born, consider dropping the reusable diaper routine for a while and giving yourself a bit of a break without the eco guilt. There will be plenty of time later to do your bit, and looking after yourself, especially during this time, is so important. I wish that I had taken that advice. We found that eventually taking a slightly more flexible approach has helped enormously. For example, we have used disposable diapers at nighttime and when traveling on occasion, just to lighten the load when life gets super stressful. So I would suggest being prepped with some disposable diapers, especially for those first few weeks when things are really tough or can be really tough. And I'll pop a link to more eco-friendly disposable options in the description if you'd like to go down that route. And that's it. So what's the key takeaway here? Using cloth diapers is like any other habit. With some time and practice, you won't even have to think about it. Plus, there are so many benefits to making the switch to cloth diapers. I would love to hear from you on this topic. What are your experiences with cloth diapering? Have you tried them? If so, what's been the most easy or challenging part? What tips or tricks have helped you the most? What helped you stick with it? What caused you to stop using reusables? Just throw it at me. I want to hear. Let me know in the comments below. I'll add links to all the resources mentioned, including our comprehensive guide on cloth diapering and more sustainable parenting tips. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, all the buttons if sustainable living is your thing. I'm Joy from Sustainable Jungle. Much love and wishing you a very smooth, rash-free change.